Hi, and hello there. We have a new heroic race, as we do every month. This time it is for the brand new high scale dragon, and we will be going through the guide on how you can get to lap 15 free to play, and all the basics of heroic races for anyone that, wants an updated version of it. We do also have new events, and along with these new events, we have a new I guess you could say super hyper pay to win collection that has a new skin for your boy Voodoo Vampire, which we will also get into, but we'll do that later. So first of all, this is the high scale dragon. He is a heroic with chaos, primal, time, and the war elements. Now, since we've got a lot of VIP dragons that are dream dragons that have come up recently, this guy may not be quite as good as he would have been before. But I still think if you are a player that doesn't have many heroics, you should definitely still be picking up this dragon, because you never know, metas can shift very quickly, and you know what, Chaos Primary is still not too bad, especially if you're early game and not going against all of those skinned, VIP heroics and such. So, basics of heroic race, let's go through them very quickly. We have laps in the heroic race, and if you want to guarantee that you can get this heroic dragon, either you need to come first in the race, so you see we've got a leaderboard, so you either need to come first, or the better way of doing it, to guarantee it every single time, is just to make your way up to lap 15. If you make it to lap 15, you are guaranteed to get the new heroic dragon. It doesn't mean you're guaranteed the other reward dragons, but you are guaranteed high scale. So, if you are someone that is either free to play or pay to win, doesn't matter if you get to lap 15, you are guaranteed to get high scale. And that is the best way to do it. Don't even worry about the people on your leaderboard. Just go for lap 15 and you will get the heroic. It saves a lot of stress that way. And of course, we have various laps with nodes, and each of them have their own specific tasks. Unfortunately, this is different again from what it was last month, because last month we had High Destiny, which was a special heroic race. However, this is your good old-fashioned heroic race, which does mean that we have wait timers. And so because we have wait timers, that means our lovely Deatlist and Ditlep websites with their heroic race guides are incredibly useful. I actually prefer the Deatlist one, personally, and maybe you don't, but I actually really like the Deatlist one. So again, we've got deatlist.com Dragon City Events Race, and the reason this is so important to have open when you're doing this is because it shows you how long you have to wait before you can collect another item, because we're going to come up to that in a second. But let's go through every single one of these tasks and how you can do them very easily, even if you're, a new player or whatever. So the one that we've got right now is probably going to be one of the hardest ones for new players, which is winning league battles. For me, at my point, it is incredibly easy, because if you didn't know, in leagues, the highest level dragon that you can go against is level 40. You'll see that no matter who we go against, the dragons will max out at level 40. And that is because that is just the maximum cap that they've assigned in this game for whatever reason. So as long as you have dragons that can defeat any level 40 dragons in the game, you will never ever lose your league battles ever again. I do have Dreamland in here at the moment, just because I'm trying to rank him up. So if a dragon ever has, the Phoenix perk, that means that then we can throw in Mr. Dreamland, and then he can, get a free KO, and that'll boost his overall rank. We can get free orbs for him, which I can then give away to people. So that's what I'm going to be doing with him. But either way, with these league battles, again, if you're a new player, you just need to get dragons that are strong enough to deal with level 40s. As soon as you get to that point in the game, league battles are going to be easy. But this one did have 4 league battles as a requirement, which means that if you finish off your set of battles, then you will get a free refresh. There we go, he got his rank up. You will get a free energy refresh and get 3 more. So if you only had like 1 or 2 battles left, then if you finish those, you would have gotten 3 extra energy, and that's what I just did basically. So that is the league battle done. You just need to win the fight. Now, we've got feeding and collecting gold. These are probably my favorite ones, along with league battles now. Feeding, very obvious and very simple. All that you need to do is get a level 1 dragon. So easiest way to do that is go and purchase a Terra Dragon egg and then hatch it. Or you can do it for any level 1 dragons that you happen to have, which, do I have one over here? I do. I have a level 1 Ruby. So we are just gonna level up this Ruby dragon until we get the items that we can get, so we keep going until we don't see any more bugs, no more bugs, so then we stop feeding him. Next one we've got is collecting gold. And this one is incredibly easy for myself because, you know, I've got a lot of habitats. So I would say usually it's better not to collect all of your gold early on because you're probably going to run into a gold collecting quest. The thing is, you're more likely to collect gold the fuller the habitat is, so you'll see that if you are at a point where the habitat has the gold symbol, that is the best time to click it and collect them. Newer players are probably going to struggle with this if they don't have many habitats down because, well, you don't have many habitats placed. But if you are a new player and you are struggling with the gold, one, don't forget that Medarian exists and he will boost your gold production. Two, the best way that you can actually put them down is by getting a bunch of level 1 or level 2 Terra habitats. So go over there, go and purchase a Terra habitat, put it down. It barely takes any time to build. And then when you do that, just fill it with dragons. If you don't have enough dragons to fill it up, then just go and hatch your Terra dragons from the hatchery, put them in there, and then there you go. You just wait until the gold symbol appears and then you should collect from them. So if you're a newer player, it might be slightly more complicated, but just fill out all of your zones with level 1 Terra habitats and you should get those quests done very easily. But you'll see that we've actually come up to the limit of the amount of items that we can collect. And this is because the heroic race once again has this thing called pools. And I know that last time everyone was really happy because pools were gone, but pools are back. And lots of people get really confused with what pools actually are. So in this case, you'll see that we had, 10 out of 16 items for the feeding that we could collect. That means that quest had a quest, or not a quest, the quest had a quest. The quest had a pool of 10 items, which means that there were 10 items there that we could collect. We collected 10 of them, and now we need to wait until more items appear. And I know that that can be a really weird concept to think about. So just in case it does help you, I'm going to use an example that I use quite a lot. Imagine this word of pools and wait timers, and just in case you want to know what I'm referring to, it's right here on the Deet List and Ditlet websites. We've got number, pool, wait time, chance, minimum time. The pool number, for instance, for feeding dragons this time was 10 because this is lap 4 node 4. The wait time between when each item is going to spawn in is 16 minutes. And because we're going to have to wait for that 6 times, because we've got 6 more items to collect, that's going to take 1 hour and 36 minutes, because 16 times 6, that's all that it means. But if that's not really making sense in your brain, let me very quickly try and explain it in a different way with an image of a literal pool. So imagine this is the pool, and let's say that we have well, let's do the 10 items that we had from that, shall we? So let's get our big brush out here. So we have 10 of these in this pool. So we've got, let's make it a bit smaller. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then I'm going to put a red one in there. We've got 10 items or 10 balls sitting in this pool, and they're just waiting in the pool. So then what we're going to do, we are this really cool kid over here, and we are about to go and dive in this pool. We're going to dive in that pool, and we're going to pick up every single one of these balls out of the pool. So we're going to get that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. We're going to get all 10 of them. But there were only 10 items in that pool, which means that no matter how much we keep swimming up and down, you know, we could go that way, we could go this way, we could go that way, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because there's no more items in the pool. What we have to do is we have to wait for our good friend, Bob, over here. He's very large. He is very large. See, this is Bob. I don't know why I used blue there, but yeah, this is Bob. And Bob's job is to put in a new pool item into the pool every, I don't know, 5 minutes, every 6 minutes. So then when we've cleared out all the balls from the pool, Bob here, every 5 minutes, he's going to go and he's going to throw another ball into this pool. And so he's only going to do that with one, let's say, ball every 5 minutes, which means that then once Bob has thrown the ball in the pool, we need to go and get the ball out of the pool again. Okay, are you getting what I mean? Maybe I've confused you even more, but either way, I think that this makes a little bit more sense in my brain, at least in essence. Basically, you can't collect things from a pool when there's nothing in it. So if you ever come to this point where you're trying to collect items and you've completely run out and it's not giving you more items, unless it's breeding and hatching, which we'll get into that in a moment, it means that you've collected all of the balls out of the pool. Bob, you need to wait for Bob, basically. And so that's what we're going to be doing right here with lap 4, node 4. And the way that you can triple check how long you have to wait is by using DeetList or DitLab. So that is why you should always have these guides open at any time so that you can, know exactly how long you have to wait. Which means that now I can go and do whatever the heck I want for an hour and 36 minutes, and then we can log back into the game, and then we can finish off the rest of these tasks. So it means that you get time away from the game where you're not just sitting there collecting things, worrying about it. You can leave for an hour and a half. Set a timer if you need to, but then you come back. But anyway, that is the basics of pools and wait timers. The next quest that we're going to have are battling dragons and collecting food. Now, collecting food is the arch nemesis of a lot of players in this game, because when you are collecting food, there's only roughly a 10% chance that you're going to get the item from each collection, and the best way to make sure that you do not screw up and you do not have to wait any excessive amount of time is to only put the shortest food timer in your farm. So that in this case would be the bluebell bouquets. Bluebell bouquets have a 30-second wait timer. They give you roughly a 10% chance to get an event item. So ideally, all or most of your farms would have bluebell bouquets in for this collecting food quest, and you may collect all of your farms and get no items. That happens because 10% is not as high as people think it is in essence. So even if you only have to collect 20 items, you may have to collect from all of these farms 13 to 20 times. It can happen depending on how lucky or unlucky you get. It completely changes how many times you'll have to do this. So like for instance, we could be in a node where we actually do get event items and you can collect from all of them and still not get an item, but it's just because you got unlucky. That is why having these websites open means that you know whether you're getting unlucky or whether you've actually reached the item cap limit, which is really important if you want to do this event properly. But that is the best way to do food. Put in those short timer food items, go and collect them, and hope and pray that you can get an item from them. The other one we have is Battle Dragons, and Battle Dragons is like League Battles, not in terms of difficulty of the fights, but more so in the length of time they can take if you don't want to gem. They will take the longest out of the whole event. Battle Dragons means that every 15 minutes you'll have to re-log in and do another fight in the heroic race. The best way to actually get through those fights is to gem the final battle only. The reason being that the final battle in the heroic race only typically costs like 3 gems, even though you might have a timer that's like 6 hours long. Alternatively, if you don't want to gem any of it, and say you're right at the beginning and you'll have to wait an hour and 15 minutes total because you haven't done any of the battles, one thing that you can do to get through these once a day is use this spin. Now, keep in mind that this booster spin, however, has a chance of only giving you 1 event item, which means if you're using it on the battle section, it may only give you 1 successful battle completion. But alternatively, it has the opportunity to finish the entire battles quest for you. So rather than it taking, well, let's go to lap 19. Rather than it taking 18 hours and 40 minutes, which is how long the battles on lap 19 node 3 take, instead it would take 0 time because you've managed to get one of the best booster spins out of this. So these can be very RNG. Even if you only get +1 on these and you were on lap 19 node 3, that's still probably like what, an hour and a half, 2 hours skipped at least. So the best time possible to use your booster skips in this event is going to be on the battles. Now, if you can't do your league battles as a new player, you can also use your booster spins on that. It's not ideal, but it is an option. So that is how you can do the battles quest, but other than that, you just have to wait and log in at the desired times. One moment, my voice is dying. I'm going to have a quick drink. Oh god, I thought it was going to die then. Anyway, back on track. So that is lap 4, node 5. So let's assume we've gone through that, and then we would move, of course, on to lap 5, which would be the next one. And we move on to this node and lap, which has breed dragons. Now, this is a major one. breeding dragons, hatching dragons will differ greatly depending on whether you have this magical thing called 12-hour time skips. Now, the players that have 12-hour time skips are myself, because I'm free to play and I was lucky because I was given it by Social Point randomly. Basically, if you're free to play, you have a chance of being given 12-hour time skips. It's a beta thing and there's no guarantee you will get them, but if you're free to play, there is a chance you may be given 12-hour time skips, and that means that the last 12 hours on any breed or hatch you can skip. Which you'll see right here that I have 2 eggs that have a 5-hour 49-minute timer until they're going to finish hatching, and I can skip them using time skips. Like this egg here is 12 hours and 31. I can't skip that right now, but in 31 minutes and 47 seconds, I will be able to. So that is a very, very huge thing, and it makes this particular event, the Heroic Race, so much easier. Reason being that for breeding dragons quests, that means that any breed or hatch section, if it's the last 12 hours, you can skip it. And so, if you are in a position such as myself that have these time skips, then the best combination, arguably, that you can use to ensure that you never get over a 12-hour timer is actually going to be Naughty and Secret Fire. Or is it Sacred Fire? I'm forgetting the dragon's name now. Let's search by fire and we'll find it. It's definitely this Sacred Fire, isn't it? But either way, this is the dragon right here, Spooks. But these 2 dragons combined, you'll see that the only possible results you can get are Terror, Flame, and Archangel. Archangel, you can get a timer in a reduced timer breeding den. It's like, what, 3 hours, something like that? The other 2 are like incredibly low breeding times, which means you're not guaranteed that you are going to get this breeding dragons item, because there's no wait timer on Lapfied Node 1, for instance, so you just need to do 6 breeds successfully and get the event item. You're not guaranteed the event item with any of these breeds, however, because their timers aren't long enough. I believe if the breed or the hatch is over 9 hours, you are guaranteed an item. Below that, you are not guaranteed an item, and the shorter the timer, the less likely you are to actually get an event item. But you can still use this combination. You might just have to do it quite a few times, skip ads on the Archangels a few times until you finish off the quest. If you're someone that is in a tight pinch and you don't have time to worry about, say, getting misbreeds or anything like that, then the combination that you'd use if you have time skips like me is going to be War and War. Now, this combination is great if you manage to breed war dragons from it, because they've got a pretty decently long timer, but you are always going to be able to skip them, and you're going to be able to skip the hatch on them as well. They're really, really nice ones to get this quest done quickly. The only problem is if you breed Thor, you can skip the breeding section of Thor, but his hatching time, I believe, is 17 hours, which means that after you've bred him, he's going to end up clogging up your wonderful breeding den. Not breeding den, hatchery. So you'll need space in your hatchery if you're going to breed Thor dragons by accident, which can happen, but it makes doing the quest faster. But if you are not someone that is privileged to have time skips such as myself, then unfortunately for you, you are going to have to do it the old-fashioned way, and that is using your boys Terra x Terra. Now, I know that Terra dragons as a whole and Terra dragon breeding and hatching is very annoying, very cumbersome, very time-consuming, but you have to do it if you don't have time skips. These 2 together, they have roughly a 10% chance of giving you an egg, but all that you have to do is breed them together and you are guaranteed to get a Terra dragon egg. But that is only if they're not empowered. Please do not use empowered Terra dragons to do this breed. If you do, you may end up with an incredibly long timer, and that will set you back massively during this heroic race. So again, you need unempowered Terra and Terra. Don't put your empowered Terra in there, and you can easily get new Terra eggs. There's no excuse for using empowered Terras to do this. But basically, you just need to breed them over and over and over and over and over again until you get an event item, and then until you finish off that task. It is going to take loads of attempts. It may take you 50, it may take you 100 attempts even to get 6 event items. I'm sorry, it's just the way that it is. But that is the classic way of getting breeding tasks done in this event. For hatching tasks, it's very, very similar to breeding, except if you don't have time skips, you have to put in Terra Dragon eggs into the hatchery. So we'll do what we did earlier. If you have a hatching quest, you go and you buy a Terra egg. If you have time skips, however, you can come along here and you can buy either Archangel or War. I buy War because War is my boy and no other reason. Archangel is cheaper, so technically more efficient, but I always buy War because my boy. But basically, you purchase these eggs when you're on a hatching mission, and then you go and you skip them using your 12-hour time skips. It makes hatching quests so easy when you have these dragons there to hatch. Again, you're not guaranteed to get an item from this, but it increases the chances massively of it happening. So that is how you do all of those tasks. I believe we've gone through pretty much everything, and there is a hatching task on lap 5, node 4. But it is more or less the same as it used to be now. So you have to keep these websites open and paying attention to the wait timers essentially, or any other guide that has them all written down. I just really like the deep list one. It is so easy to get up and, you know, just pick a lap. There is nothing else to it. I love it personally. So I'll always vouch for it. I have posted this in the event guides channel on my Discord server as well. But aside from that, you're just going to need some luck on the breeding and hatching parts of this event. So we are going to keep waiting personally for lap 4 node 4. We're not even close to that timer being done for now, and you know, at the moment we are way ahead because no one's even logged in yet, which is great. But where the enemies are or your opposition doesn't really matter right now. What matters is where they are at the end of day 10, because then there's going to be a day left, and then is when you can make the decision to go and do some crazy stuff if you need to get the other dragons. But that is the heroic race itself. The other tips that I would say for this is leave your farms open, leave as many of your breeding dens open as you can. I say that while being a hypocrite because I have just been breeding this because I'm desperate for new dragons. That is because I've got time skips. If you didn't have time skips, or if I didn't have time skips, I would not be doing any other breeding during this event. The other thing is keep your hatchery open. Other thing is what I would say if the League Alliance chest wasn't currently on. Since you're going to have League quests, make sure you're paying attention to when you can use your actual combats and when you can't. One thing is when you've got your combats like this, don't use it or it'll start a full cooldown. I've already waited a little bit for the cooldown now, so I'm not going to use this final combat unless I want to go and do it for the Alliance chest, which I probably will. But just be aware of when your League battles are coming up so that you don't waste combats for no reason. Now, on to the collections, because I said we've been through the heroic race itself. Of course, we're going to have heroic combat quests at the end of this, more than likely, so try and save up your food depending on which heroic combats you're going for, which we can go through that another time. But the big extra thing that has come out today is Voodoo's return and the new Divine Pass. In this, we have these new Voodoo Insignias, which is very similar to the High Ascended Supreme and the other events, except this one isn't quite as interesting in terms of the rewards, and getting to 1,000 is not going to happen unless you are paid to win. It's just not going to happen. Free-to-plays are probably going to get about 150 to 200-ish of these insignias, which means that free-to-play, if you're playing all the events, collecting all the insignias, you're probably going to get one shot at this special voodoo chest, which could drop High Voodoo Vampire, could drop orbs for him, could drop orbs for vampires, can drop a few legendary jokers, but you're probably going to end up with some food, which sucks. Just look at the difference in those rewards. Food versus a whole ass High Voodoo Vampire. It's gonna be make or break for some people, but you're probably only gonna be able to open up one of them. At least that's what it's looking like right now. The way that you get these insignias is going to be through various events, like what we've been having before. So, you know, if you've been playing during the previous events with insignias, you sort of get the gist by now, but you'll just have to be playing through the various events through the month to get those. But, you know, the new skin for High Voodoo Vampire, I guess it just means that they're going to be making these skill skins a permanent thing, and they're incredibly pay to win. But luckily, if you don't pay for the pay-to-win skins and you don't have them, you don't go against others that have them. So I guess it's balanced in that sense, but I'm still not a fan. He does look very cool with his new skin though. Look at that. He turns into a big ram. The other collection that we've got going on right now as well on top of this is a Scaly Journey. And inside a Scaly Journey, where again you can get these scales through various events and such, it says you can find them in Maze, Fog, Quest, Dragon TV, and inside Warrior's Chest in the arenas, which I don't see them right now. But either way, if you get the scales, you'll get these rewards over here. And for instance, if you get a crystallized scale, you will get an orb box which has orbs for the new heroic in it. And so this means that you could get an insane amount of orbs and be able to empower high scale, which would be very nice. We do also have legendary orb chests, which has the Abracadabra dragon, who's a very cool looking guy with soul and happy elements. He's kind of cool. Same thing, but with a different scale type. Then we've got amber scales, same thing, but this time for the Alakazam dragon, which, no, it's not the Pokemon. Abracadabra Alakazam is just a thing anyway. It doesn't have to be the Pokemon, okay? But either way, same thing. You could either get really good drops of him or just ×5. And then we've got this one, which drops a couple of perks, which is nice. We've got this one which drops some Jokers and a Phoenix perk if you get enough of each of the scale types. And then finally, we have the usually pay-to-win collection chest, which it probably is. So don't hold out too much hope for that one, but the rest of them should be fine, and you can get a bunch of extra random stuff through it. If you want to see a few more details on this Scaly Journey stuff, it is here in your event panel on the right-hand side, same with the Voodoo stuff. July 13th to the 24th, found a magical scale, make a wish, track down the new high scale dragon, make your dreams come true in this new heroic race. We do have the event schedule as well, but just so that you know, we're going to have Maze on July 19th. We've of course got the heroic race today. We're going to have Fog on the 15th, so in 2 days time. And then they're talking about opening scale chests to collect amber scales. You'll find them in Maze, Fog, Island, Quest, Dragon TV, and inside Warrior chests. The only thing is, when I'm looking at my arena, I'm not seeing any scales. I'm only seeing dragon orbs, so I'm feeling a bit miffed right now. I'm seeing dragon orbs and tokens, and I'm not seeing any scales, because instead we're opening up these skull chests. So I'm not a fan of seeing that there, but you know, I guess that is their intention. We'll get back up to Masters in a moment, but that is the currently ongoing event stuff. So in terms of the rewards from the heroic race itself as well, of course we do have the basic rewards. We've got heroic orbs chest, we've got banquet box, legendary egg chest, and things like that. I would say that it is usually worth it to get up to, say, lap 19 in the heroic race. If you can get further than that, fine. Depends on how, you know, how often you're logging in and such. But I would definitely say that lap 19, if you can get a free Titan, it's worth it. You get orbs for Mr. High Scale as well. And if you're wondering what these little stopwatch icons are, that means that you can get double the amount of rewards from that lap if you manage to finish it within a set amount of time. Honestly speaking, you will struggle unless you get very lucky with a booster skip. So the only one that you're probably going to be getting ×2 on is maybe lap 9. Aside from that, you're probably not going to get the others, but depends on how much you gem and how lucky you get with your booster spin. But I believe that that is pretty much everything that I wanted to go through for now. My final leaving comment, however, will be about the Voodoo's return, because if you do want to get your hands on your first Insignia, and yeah, I guess we'll take a quick look at the actual Divine Pass as well, you can actually get a free Insignia every day by going to the Dragon City web store. So if you just search Dragon City Web Store, for instance, into Google, whether you're on mobile or on PC, for instance, you can log in, and then once you do that, it will let you actually get the free Insignia and any other free stuff that you haven't yet collected, like, say, a VIP egg. If you haven't collected it yet, you can go and collect it. I can't do it on PC because it just doesn't work, so usually, if I'm going to be doing this, I will log in on mobile and do it, and it just makes it a hell of a lot easier. All you have to do, again, is just type in dragoncitygame.com, go to the web store, log in, and then open up your game, and you'll get free stuff, basically. So On top of that, the other way that you can get some more insignias is from the free and paid sections of the Divine Pass, Age of Arcana. And I have to say, out of all of these Arcanas, I think Arcana Death is my favorite. I love him. He looks so happy. And of course, he is the paid dragon from this pass, along with there's also the Elite Pass, which gives you tons of the insignias because it's pay to win. But we probably won't be getting him unless we get lucky with trading with people. But say you're free to play like me, so this top section, you don't care about that. We do have insignias on the free section. So, you know, we've got 10 there, we've got 10 there, 20, 10. And then, of course, we have a legendary egg chest at the end. So we've got gems, Joker orbs, insignias, and other pretty good rewards. So if you're free to play, you should definitely be trying to pick those up. Of course, we do have goals that you can finish for these to, you know, get them instantly. So things like watching a Dragon TV video, winning arena battles, things like that. Leveling up dragons with the ice element. You know, there's some really easy ones where you can do big work on this, like day one. Most of them you can just do naturally as you play for the next 27 days. But if you want to really hard focus on getting the pass done as quickly as possible, just check the goals. And like feeding up a dragon with ice, super easy. Feeding up terror dragons, even easier. Changing the name of a dragon, you know, some of these take 2 seconds. Others, like this one, win an arena battle using dragons with dark. You need 40 of those. Whew. Whew. They're really testing people with these. That's a lot of battles to have to win an arena with those. But then we've got things like hatch a dragon with war element. Super easy if you got 12-hour time skips. But either way, make sure you're doing your work on these insignias, and then when you've collected enough, you'll come over to Voodoo's Return, and you'll open this 0 out of 50, and then eventually the 0 out of 150. Again, this one, the 1000, that's not going to be happening unless you're paying, like, just outright. So keep all of that in mind. Do I think the pass is worth purchasing this time? If you can get your hands on Voodoo Vampire, I definitely think that it is very tempting, because if you buy Elite, which is £28, depends on where you're from as to how much that comes out to, you will get more event currency, you'll get orbs from the orb habitat, you'll get 300 orbs of high voodoo, and then of course you can get your hands on all of those insignias, which gives you more stuff. So, you know, if you really want to get high Voodoo Vampire and get the skin for him, you're probably going to have to get Elite, most likely. I don't know if it's guaranteed, even if you do all the events. If you get Premium, I don't think it is. So the way to get this new skin for certain is to buy Elite. So, if you've got £28, you could purchase this. Alternatively, you could go to Steam and buy like 7 AAA games right now, which I purchased Yakuza and Devil May Cry recently, which I think was the better purchase than this, but it is your choice. If you want to spend it on Dragon City, be my guest. Personally, I will not be, as I'm fully free to play, but it is your choice. So do as you wish. But anyway, that is all of this stuff currently ongoing. Of course, we do have Eternals quest still happening, but aside from that, it is just going to be good old-fashioned heroic race grinding for a couple of days until we get Fog Event, and then we're going to have to do Fog Event guides and all of that jazz. So, for now, I wish you the best of luck. Make sure you know where you're up to in this event. Make sure you've got these wonderful websites to help you out with the cooldowns and everything, or any other guides that you've got around to help. And let's all hope and pray that we can get our hands on high scale.